I'm going to look at some stuff on knife attacks and see if there's anything in there that can actually be used. I got to thinking about it because I was looking at a video on YouTube where the guy pretty much says that self-defense against a knife will get you killed. I haven't looked at all of them yet, but when I do, I'm going to make even probably another video and do some more reflecting on it. I still want to see if there's anything at all you could possibly do to defend yourself against a knife attack. Right now, my gut's telling me that the best you're going to be able to do is come up with defense against a knife against people who really don't know what they're doing. I guess, just the most common type of knife attacks. That if they are really true, expert knife fighter, or even somebody who's just got some quick hands, you pretty much might be Swiss cheese. But I don't know. So I'm going to have to look into it more. And then I'm going to run into another problem, is that even if I get it to work for me, I may not be able to get it to work for most people because of the whole 3 to 5 fights paradigm that I finally have stumbled across, which explains why I've been able to do stuff and other people can't. Because with me, I've only had a few. I've had one that I can recall, because there was some stuff that I found out that happened when I was little. I'm barely able to remember it. But I had one knife threat that I recall when I was in high school, and I froze. The guy came up behind me, put the knife to my ear, and was threatening to cut me. He was just doing it just to be, just to taunt me or whatever. But if you don't know what taunt is, look it up. But I mean, that's still knife exposure. And I didn't fight or anything. I froze. I just stood there and just hoped to God he didn't cut my ear off. And, I retaliated later, but I don't want to go into all that. But see, the thing is, years later, at least it had to be at least a decade later or close. It was more than a decade later. Somebody came at me. He caught me off guard, and he came at me with what I thought was a real knife. I didn't know it was a fake knife, so when he came at me with it, I just reacted and was getting ready to break his arm until he kept saying my name over and over and over again. He was going, Cecil, 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 Cecil. I was like, why is he acting like that? He was going to stab me. Oh, because it's not real. Oh, my bad. But he just came at me. I mean, and the strike he did, I used to think it was, oh, nobody's going to attack you like that type of strike. The typical overhand stiff arm stab with the blade pointed at you. But I've seen some security camera footage where people attack like that. Because of the whole thing where sometimes when you get into a fight, I forget what the technical term is for it, but it has to do with you get stuck in a repetitive motion sometimes in a real fight because of adrenaline, and your body's just going to get stuck in what they call gross motor movements, the big simple moves. Unless you thoroughly trained your body to do complex fine motor movement, you're going to get stuck a lot of times in a simple repetitive motion where you do the same thing again and again and again and again and again and again and again. So in that security camera footage, some guy got stuck in that I'm going to stab you to death thing. I think some people used to call that the psycho stab, just the one that straight over the head he came down at you. But that's how that guy came at me. And I can tell you, as fast as I reacted, I didn't even give him a chance, if it was for real, to really get into a whole psycho range motion thing. It was really smooth too. I probably couldn't do it if I was thinking about it. He came at me, I just intercepted it, came, and when I was going to throw him on his head, because it was me blending together subconsciously what I'd learned in the military and then what I learned in judo. So basically, I was going to do and he paused say Onagi, I had his hand. And I mean, I know it would have worked, contrary to the video I was just watching, because I actually had grabbed the wrist in a way where he really couldn't retract it, because I was just that fast and it was just that smooth and the timing was just that in there. I was going to break his arm over my shoulder and throw him at the same time, and the way he was going to land on top of his head. I mean, it would have killed him. But fortunately, and this is where traditional martial arts comes in handy, for all the people who hate it and try to poo-poo it, I had the body control to stop when I needed to. I'm used to stopping sometimes. Now, that's not a guarantee that people are going to be able to stop all the time, because he was going up off the ground when I stopped, and I was able to put him back down. So I'm going to look into this knife thing more, this knife defense more. I think it's worth exploring, and if nothing else, I'll probably come up with another video that's just a gateway to those videos if I find I really can't just make it work. I mean, up to this point, what I've done with knife defense is the whole, the traditional, hold arm out there type of things, just for demonstration purposes. And then I used to get my daughter to try to stab at me with a knife when she was younger. And it really was good to have a smaller kid try to stab at you, because they're fast. And I had to add a dimension of, I want to protect myself without really trying to hurt her while doing it. But let me tell you, they're fast. And it's just proved what I'd read on another forum back in the day, that a 10-year-old with a knife is dangerous. So if they come at you with that knife, man, you better do something. Now, I mean, for real, I mean, it was my daughter. But I mean, I know this sounds mean, but I'm sorry. But if a child that age will really try to come at me with a knife, I'd have to just football kick them into the next oblivion. If they're really trying to hurt me with a knife, I just have to try to get them before they got me. And so far, that's really the only defense I've seen, because I'm not going to try to joint lock somebody with a knife unless it just happens. So maybe that might be a key to it, is to try not to go into it with any kind of preconceived notions. Just think survival, try to survive, and then do what you can from there. That's the only thing I can think of right now. And that could be the condition the conclusion I end up going back to. I don't know. But there is always the option, like I said in the video I saw today, of walking away. Not trying to engage the knife person, the knife attacker, which is what I would recommend anyway, first and foremost. But I recommend that with any type of possible conflict. I mean, if you don't have to fight the person, don't fight the person. If you can rely on awareness, rely on awareness. Oh yes, that reminds me of my another situation. I didn't give him a chance to get the knives out. But I'm not going to say what I did to get out of that one. Because number one, it borders on Jedi mind trick. And number two, some of you guys probably aren't aggressive enough to sell what I did. I just did it, and it happened to work because I'm me, and I can turn up the intensity just that much. But then again, maybe it's because I got the 3 to 5 fights in there, so I can function under those type of stresses where most people can't. So take this rambling for what it's worth. I'm going to look into seeing how I can possibly do something as defensive against a knife that can help people. I could probably come up with something that work for me. But I hope I can come up with something that can work for everybody. If not, you know what? If I can't, hey, I can't. Peace.